Hello. Welcome to the internet's number one fratricide. I almost said fatricide podcast. The Loreboys. I'm your host, Ethan Palmer, and joining me today are Pimbo and GD. Say hi, Pimbo and GD.
Hello.
Hello.
I consider
RFK.
cardio fatricide, personally.
Yeah. Say RFK is getting a fatricide by getting rid of all the seed oils. Yeah.
I was a seed oil truther for a while. I was like, honestly, knowing the American food system, I was like, it's gotta be poison, right? Like, it just has to be. But it probably isn't, frankly. It's probably just the same thing like the soy conspiracy. I doubt it's that bad for you.
Honestly, I think the American government and Nicol Bolas have our best interests in mind.
Oh, yeah?
I think all governments are good and that they believe in their people. And also capitalism good. It's good that some people have 100 million times more than everyone else. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's good.
Some people deserve it.
Did you guys know that if Jesus made $1 million every year since he was born, he would have 1/100th of Elon Musk's net worth? Isn't that fun? $1 million. Well, yeah, because $1 million a year has been alive for 2,000 years. That's 2 billion. And Mr. Musk is about 200
two
billion.
hats at the same time. Where Elon has
true.
Right?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I'll put this out here in the universe because this is out in a couple of weeks. God willing, Elon has been bullied into suicide by the Path of Exile community by the time this episode comes out. I'll just keep saying that until it happens. I killed Coolio by accident. Fuck.
Flint, Michigan finally gets fresh water. Jesus runs over and touches it and turns it into wine. Like, water is not a human right.
Yeah. Jesus would be a big fan of Nestle for sure. Honestly, he would agree with everything that they're doing. So today we're going to be talking about the story of Nicol Bolas from Magic the Gathering. Everything we've talked about so far, not completely off. I'm glad you made the comparison of Nicol Bolas to government because the last we left our intrepid dragon/dragons, Bolas had just conquered the Dragon Killer Kingdom via some manipulation, and he had spooked his brother so bad that Ugin was whisked away into the blind eternities. That's how the last episode ended, right? So
yeah, that's true. He triggered Ugin's spark through like, oh my god, my brother's evil, and his mind control powers. He like convinced someone. He was testing his brother killing mind control powers on civilians in the other Dragon King's castle. Correct?
Exactly. Yeah. And then so took over the Dragon Killer Kingdom and is going to be the government of the Dragon Killer Kingdom. And guess what? Dragons shouldn't rule. Dragons shouldn't exist, right?
Okay.
So while conquering the Dragon Killer Kingdom, lost to Nicol, his brother, it did gain him something else. You guys may remember a powerful magic toxin known as venom, which specialized in killing dragons, right?
Right. Yes.
So he got the dragon killing gun essentially whenever he took over this specific kingdom, right?
Yeah.
So conveniently, we have a recap of the story that we've already told from the future. This is the story of the Dragon Killer Kingdom as it was told generations after Bolas took over, like tens of thousands of years after the events, basically how this story has like been passed down over time from the Chronicles of Bolas, Blood and Fire. The quote goes, "When the young dragon arrived at the Birth Mountain and saw the injustice and abuse being meted out to the vulnerable, he knew he must act. It is true his brother was not as bold. He caviled, he hesitated. But to do nothing to avenge the death of one's kin is the same as killing them yourself. Outnumbered and unable to match the cruel sorcery of the humans, the young dragon outwitted the humans instead. With matchless cunning, he set the heirs against each other so that they fought one against the next until all lost the war for succession. In the course of the war, his brother was swept away into nothingness by a blast of human sorcery, their own claw of revenge. But the dragon triumphed. Dragons always triumph, for that is their nature, to rise above all. In place of the brutal chief, the young dragon was acclaimed as savior of the realm and offered the throne. Those who had once worshipped the drinker of dragon's blood now bowed before the dragon. He ruled according to the precepts he had discussed at length with his brother, for they were ever eager to understand the world's scope and heart. He knew that he could best honor the memory of his beloved brother by acting as he would have urged his brother to do. So it was that he reigned justly and fairly with order and peace for many generations." So this version of events, as we know, is a little bit off, right? Like him coming in and being like he overthrew the tyrant Dragon Killer King, who was very mean to his subjects and everything, right?
Yeah.
His history. Go ahead.
To remember, the Dragon Killer King was like the blue dragon that was actually pretty chill and making for a good.
No,
this was like a tribe of humans.
Yeah, so there was they went to go visit Arcades Sabbath, who we'll talk about a bit, who was a dragon who ruled a kingdom of humans. But then there was when Nicol and Ugin first arrived on Dominaria, when they were first born, along with all the other dragons on the plane, they saw one of their sisters being killed by humans, and those humans went on to found this dragon killer kingdom where you could only rule if you had killed a dragon, and that is the kingdom who he manipulated in the end and is now in control of.
Right, yeah, and I remember like the last episode takes place over unknown decades, centuries, or millennia, because dragon age, their perception of time is completely different. So like these people went from like a tribe of savages hunting dragons with sticks to a kingdom of dragon hunters, right?
Yeah, I was wrong about that though, because he kills the same guy. It's the same leader, so it is. It's probably decades, right? The end of the story ends with him killing like the same leader who had killed his sister, essentially. This story, I will say, even more timey-wimey, like less clear how long the timeline is, but it will be much longer, this one, than the last span that we had, because now we are looking at the timescale of dragons more than humans.
Yeah, we don't need like exact time dates. We can just like imagine it's an ancient legend about a big old dragon, right? We can follow the story. Yeah.
A big old dragon who was the victor, who gets to write the history, right?
Yeah.
Nicol Bolas clearly hired someone with a PR background to help smooth things over after his peaceful transition of power. He had conquered the Dragon Killer Kingdom by treachery and manipulation, turning brother against brother in a bloody war that left only him standing at the end. Much like his cousin Arcades, his brother, I should have written Arcades, Bolas decided to try his hand at being king, right?
Okay.
First things first, when you become a king, right, after a bloody coup, is establishing a propaganda, a ministry of propaganda, of course. Mm-hmm. And the reign of the Dragon Killer Kingdom would come to be known as a fiercely tyrannical one, a story passed on from generation to generation. So I think I'll talk about it a little bit later as well. I think I have it written into the script, but I don't really remember. The quotes that I'm reading you guys are from this story, but it is not set at the time of these events. So the way the story works, where we're learning these things, is way in the future on a different plane of existence on Tarkir, which we'll talk about Tarkir in a little bit as well. Yeah. You have these like humans who are like looking for answers, and this one human keeps getting visions of like Nicol Bolas's early life, essentially. So all this stuff is like him receiving it in a vision, basically. And the vision seemed to be either alternately Ugin or Bolas speaking through him. So like the quote that I just read you guys is like one of the instances where it's clearly Bolas kind of speaking through him, and he's telling the story to another dragon, essentially.
Do you think Donald Trump like possesses the body of like Jesse Waters directly through some sort of dark White House sorcery on Fox News to just be like, tariffs are good, actually? Like when he's at the Saudi Palantir thing, if you remember that, the photo with the orb.
Despite what we know about Bolas' nasty streak, he did protect his kingdom. Dominaria in this ancient past had a bit of a dragon problem, right? Not only the elder dragons birthed from the wings of the dragon, but now their progeny as well, right? So dragons do be fucking.
And cousins? They're kissing cousins?
Yeah, we're all cousins if you think about it, right?
How do snakes do it? Or like, how do dragons do it?
Smile on your brother. Snakes get in a big pile. Right?
Some do, yeah. There's a mating ball.
What's that? Is it snails that like hang from a branch and curl around each other? Or is it snakes? I'm not sure.
Good question.
I don't know.
You guys watch a lot of snail fucking online?
Time to play. Is it snails or is it snakes?
Yeah. We didn't talk explicitly about snail fucking on the bonus episode, but I mean, you didn't miss much.
Yeah.
I'll add it to my list of shows. I gotta watch Severance. I gotta watch Snails Fuck now. Yeah, I'll get to it. I gotta finish Expedition 33. Fuck. I can't, when am I gonna find the time?
So many of Bolas' siblings and cousins were getting busy spawning new dragons, and the plane was getting crowded. Here's a quote from Blood and Fire for you guys. One day, a rampage of dragons raided through the peaceful settlements along the river that separated the harmonious kingdom from the plains, territories, and badlands where Palladium Moors had long hunted. At once, Bolas hurried to meet this threat, flying over a line of burned villages and frantic refugees fleeing the carnage. He found 7 large, loud dragons munching noisily through a stockyard of terrified, stampeding beasts. The marauders merely glanced at him circling above before going back to their feast. Such insolence would be rewarded as it deserved. He blasted a flame he blasted flame in a ring around them, not to trap them since they could easily fly out, but to get their attention. Why do you trouble my blameless subjects and eat their valuable herds? He demanded. We are the descendants of Vivictus Asmati and may raid where we wish, they cried, lashing their tails and brandishing their claws. So 2 names in there that I'll remind you guys of. Palladium Mors is his sister, who Ugin and Nicol had asked her to teach them how to hunt because
she was like the barbaric huntress dragon, right?
Yeah, just like savage survival of the fittest kind of dragon. Yeah. She has very little interest in this kind of game of politics that some of the dragons are doing. She's like the complete opposite of Bolas in that regard. Vivictus Asmati is this like black-red dragon who Arcades had been having trouble with, right?
We had a picture of him last time, right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you got a picture of both of them last time, yeah.
Yeah, well, I remember Palladium was like she has the curled horns. She looks a lot like Bolas. Who, when I was drawing, I realized Nicol Bolas looks way more like a goblin than a dragon. He has a very like flat head. He has pointy ears, which I thought were like.
He's got a bit of a goblin grin. I'll give you that for sure.
Yeah.
So
then the chrome one, the flying saucer one that I like very much. Yeah, who looks much more like a traditional metallic dragon, but also like kind of future-esque sort of. Yeah. He looks like the ancient armor from Monster Hunter, which I think is very cool, which may be a thing that people would recognize.
The T-2000 was a Pixar dragon, or a DreamWorks dragon, is how I would describe Chromium Morel.
Yeah.
So Vivictus Asmati was a cousin to Nicol and Ugin, was a nasty sort. On our last episode, we talked about the threat he posed to Arcades' realm. He was the reason that archers attacked Nicol and Ugin on sight when they arrived at Arcades' kingdom, essentially. Because he'd been raiding the Master Tactician's realm. Like, he'd been raiding that kingdom, him and his brothers and sisters. So that's like a cousin explicitly, not brother. It's never super clear why certain ones are brothers. It just seems to be like proximity to where they were born. They decide like these ones were born close to each other, so they call each other brothers, and Vivictus was born somewhere else, so he's called a cousin.
Well, they fucking, but also all fell off the dragon, so they're all completely related. Like, depending on like maybe it's like the family tree is from where you fall off, right? Yeah. Like
I also say they're fucking like it is not canon. It is not canon in any way how dragons reproduce that I can find in Magic the Gathering, and I did do some research on dragon fucking, and I came up well, not short, but
I was trying to Google the animal that wraps around each other while it fucks, and I've made no progress. There's a lot of weird fucking Google searches on my
All right, get your head down. Okay, get back to work, Jamie. We'll do the podcast. You let us know about these snails fucking. Okay.
No matter what I search, it's still always a Shadow the Hedgehog wwrapped around Rouge the Bat, dude. Like, what the fuck?
There's so much goo. So we got these children spawn of Vivictus Asmati, they claim to be. No matter how brazen these red-black dragons were, Nicol was nonetheless surprised to see them invading his realm from this end. Like I said, they were not only were they attacking Nicol's subjects, but they had driven away his older sister, the relentless Palladium Mors. So in the quote, I said like they're on like the border where like Palladium Mors's hunting grounds were, which was surprising to him, right? So the quote continues. Like their progenitors, they were belligerent and small-minded. Yet even a dragon as magnificent as himself could not defeat them alone. But he was not alone. He had subjects who sang his praises with poems that asked for no higher honor than a chance to prove themselves worthy of his regal generosity and noble perspicacity. He had armies of eager warriors and an academy packed with clever sorcerers he had taught, all seeking to challenge their skills against the mightiest of foes. He possessed the weapons of the long-dead dragon killers. With plangent bells and bellowing horn calls, the army assembled, hauling ballistae and their venom-laced bolts. Sorcerers draped in gold and black robes strode in disciplined columns, singing as they marched. At the river's edge, they met the 7 young dragons, and the proud armies poured venom and sorcery onto the enemy in a relentless hail. It was a rout, a slaughter. How intoxicating it was to see the venom-laced bolts fly true, piercing scaled underbellies softened by cunning sorcery. Viscera spilled onto the ground, burning those caught beneath. The gloating shouts of the victors blended with the agonized screams of the dying dragons. So, he's pretty... Sorry?
Inside baseball, a little funny thing that's happening in loser titles right now is like we normally have a game where the patrons can guess the name of the episode based on our funny loser titles. I think it was posted with just the actual name of the lore at the top.
I wrote loser titles. I wrote predator titles or predator lore. That's funny.
Yeah, funny inside baseball, but that was a cool quote. It's a lot of viscera.
Subscribe to our Patreon if you want us. If you want to try and guess what we're covering this week, baby.
Exactly. Yeah. So I mean, he turns on his cousins once removed, I guess you'd say. And he slaughters them utterly. He is an elder dragon. It seems like the generation below, like they're not elder dragons. You guys remember Bolas is small. He's about half the size of his elder dragon cousins because
he was in one of those double yolked eggs, right?
Exactly. So they had to fit 2 dragons, him and Ugin, into 1 egg. So they both came out half as big as they could have been. With half.
Which is why Ugin doesn't have a last name, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Nicol
didn't either.
Yeah, he just made up his name to sound cool, and it was all about like his appearance to him.
Yeah, exactly. Just to save his ego and to not be the little runt dragon who had only 1 name, right?
Oh yeah, well, I did look it up. Our post for the loser title is straight up just called Predator Lore. Can you guess the episode based on these titles?
Love it.
So, despite their victory, one of the children of Evictus escapes, and Bolas with his army pursues them. So he takes the army and pursues them. Another important thing that I guess keep in mind is the fact that like these people like want to fight for Nicol Bolas and like want the honor of like fighting for him and taking down his enemies. It comes up like a little bit later too, but essentially this is at some point it is mentioned like there is like generations on generations and on generations of armies living under Bolas and under other dragons we'll see as well, who are just kind of like it becomes their cultural norm. Like you have these like immortal gods ruling over your kingdom, and it becomes a very cultural norm to be like, yeah, we die for the Dragon King, basically.
I mean, it makes sense.
Mm-hmm. So the story continues. The sun was rising when he spotted 4 dragons flying toward them. Seen from a distance, they did not appear particularly formidable, but as they came closer, their massive size and fierce demeanor became evident. The 3 brothers, Lividus, Ravus, and Rubra, bellowed insults as they approached, calling him runt and least born. That their insults weren't even clever just made it worse. The largest was Vivictus himself, flying out in front because of his superior strength. In his foreclaws, he held the limp body of the dragon that had fled the lost battle. With a roar that shook the ground, Vivictus flew right over the army and released the dragon. The body plummeted to earth as soldiers shoved and shouted, trying to get out of the way. The corpse hit hard, instantly crushing an entire company of slingers. Blood soaked the dusty ground, and fires broke out where the final sparks of the dragon's breath kindled in dry grass. The injured screamed, clutching at bones broken through skin, while healers tried to haul comrades out from beneath the dead weight of the dragon. With a laugh, Evictus cried, "Run, little Nicol, run, and I'll spare you." Earlier in his life, anger might have gotten the better of the young Dragon King as he writhed and fumed over such mockery. He assuaged his anger by decapitating several of the generals, but his underling shortcomings weren't the important thing now. The days of letting Vivictus bully him were over. He whipped the panicked army into new ranks, promoting officers who hadn't lost their heads. Vivictus' rash challenge offered him an unexpected advantage. Vivictus might be big and mean, but he wasn't as smart as he thought he was.
He's calling him Nicole. Can't have that.
Yeah. These are like the jocks. Like they don't even have good insults. They're like the dumb dragons who are extra strong.
Exactly.
And I like how the opening of that quote is like, as they flew closer, they got bigger. It's like that's how perspective works.
Yeah.
It's like
wait, true.
The jock based siege army, instead of having like the trebuchet cloth like holding a rock or chunk of a castle, it's like a wedgie trebuchet, like it whips the underpants over your head.
So the Vivictus does not have human soldiers with him. It's just the dragon. So the jocks are just on the other side. You have like a bunch of nerds with like calculators and catapults, and they're like not firing them because they're arguing over like the calculations when they get crushed by a giant football, basically.
Okay.
Actually, we need to launch the venom ballista at a 80-degree angle to arc it properly after you soften their bellies.
Well, you fool, if it flies through the air for that long, the venom will dry out. Don't you know anything about biochemistry?
Neither one of you are discussing the terminal velocity of a ballista bolt.
And then it crushed to death.
Yeah.
Just by a giant football.
Yeah, exactly. The army clashes with the squadron of dragons, venom-tipped bolts lancing out from ballistae. One takes Rubra. So there's 4 dragons. You need to know Vivictus is really the only one that you need to know. But one of his brothers, Rubra, takes a venom-tipped bolt in the eye. The shot to the eye doesn't kill him, but the venom soon leaches into his brain, and he comes crashing to the ground.
Okay.
Human soldiers descend on the fallen dragon, hacking Rubra to pieces and bathing in his blood. This becomes like relevant later on because it turns out that if you bathe in the blood of an elder dragon, you're protected from its breath fire.
Cool.
Which I think is like a cool little detail to include.
Little River Styx action there, little Achilles.
Yeah, exactly. So these guys, it's just like bloodlust and them wanting to be like the ones who like kill him essentially. And like it mentions in the story how like Nicol's like, because they break ranks to go do it, right? So like Nicol's upset at them and is like, I got to punish them for that, but now's not the time, kind of thing.
Oh, does he try and burn him alive later and they realize they're protected from his fire breath?
No. I mean, it does come up in the battle. I don't even know if I mentioned it like a little bit later on, but like it does protect that company for like a good amount of time. I don't really mention it later, but Nicol ends up killing them all in the end because he doesn't want that secret to get out. He doesn't want his own subjects to have that knowledge, so he's like, no, I'm gonna kill them all, basically. So
congratulations, guy who leaked safety information about Boeing. You really helped us out with this one.
Yeah. Turns out if you drench a plane in elder dragon blood, it can't crash.
It would take local spas really to the next level, though. You could like do like a hot cold treatment where you like go in cold dragon's blood and then take that in, and then you go and get breathed on by a dragon and you get the hot. And you can go back and forth and be very
dragon sauna. That'd be wonderful.
Yeah.
Very nice. So despite the magic and number of Bolas's forces, 3 elder dragons could hold their own in a fight, of course. They're driven back by the remaining dragons, Vivictus unleashing great gouts of flame across the ranks. Bolas casts a spell through his sorcerers, so this is the first time this is kind of described. He had long ago tapped into each of their minds to control them in situations like this, essentially.
Is this the same thing he used to have that guy kill his brother?
Yeah, pretty much. But like instead of having humans cast stab, he's having them do like more complex arcane spells and to like weave all their magic together, right? So imagine like 15 knives stabbing somebody all at once. Et tu brute? So yeah, he's like able to like tap into his like ranks of sorcerers who like he taught these people magic essentially at like his academies, and he taught them it in a specific way that he can like always override them basically, so they're never like a threat to him is how I read it basically.
Cool. Okay.
He hides his army beneath a smoke screen and sounds a retreat. They pull back. They haul in the 2 surviving siege weapons. They fall back to a narrow canyon, cornering themselves. The generals obviously complain, like, no, corners are bad to be in this situation, right? This is Bolas's plan, and no sacrifice is too great for the Dragon King's ego, right? Like, he doesn't care if the humans survive or not. He just wants to get his shot in, right?
We're gonna fight like a cornered animal. It's like, no, you're misunderstanding that saying, Mr. Bolas.
The lesser dragons they had killed had fallen to the great arrows launched from the ballista, like the 7 younger like children of Vivictus, right? They had fallen to the ballista. But the elder dragon scales were proving almost impossible to pierce. So they got the one lucky shot in the eye. They saw that the eyes are vulnerable. But the other bolts that they're kind of launching at these dragons are just not doing anything, basically. So
okay.
It's like the end of The Hobbit. Whenever like the guy has the thing on his shoulder and he's looking his dad in the face, he's like, "I love you," and then they shoot it at Smaug in the weak point. Yeah.
Yes.
I don't remember that movie at all.
Yeah, I was just about to say, it's like, Jamie has not read the book, clearly.
Yeah, I watched the movie, and it was so corny, the ending, but they got him. They got Smaug.
There was a dad in it? I don't remember this.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about it, but yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, they saw the eyes were vulnerable, but a difficult shot to make at the best of times.
Yeah.
But Bolas did still have a squadron of sorcerers at his disposal. So the quote continues. Lividus loomed into view, blocking the canyon. The ballista released with a thud, sending bolts straight into the huge dragon. The first glanced harmlessly off his shoulder, while the second caught between scales in his foreleg and dangled there until he shook it off, and laughed, looking up. A shadow darkened the canyon as Ravis dropped down from the sky. Now, cried the young king. Working in concert, the sorcerers flung the disintegration spell at the dragon overhead. It hit like an invisible wave pouring through him. Ravis splintered like rock heated until it explodes. Scales hailed down in deadly discs upon his troops. Half the sorcerers were killed outright, punctured by sharp bone fragments, or smashed by slabs of raining flesh. Ravis, with a cry of enraged grief, Lividus flamed the ballista just as a second set of bolts flew. The force of his blast sent the bolt skittering against the canyon walls, leaving the young king vulnerable with the charred ballista, the last sorcerers, and the blood-soaked rearguard as his sole companions. Now you'll die, you slithering worm, Lividus hissed. So that's like the moment where the blood-soaked soldiers, like the rearguard survives because they happen to be covered in the blood of the elder dragon.
Cool. Wow. To be crushed by a slab of flaming flesh is a rough way to go for a wizard. You spend all your time reading books and you just get meat smashed.
Yeah, that's it. That Sunday roast was lethal.
Yeah. I think it is really cool how they just cast a disintegration spell on a dragon and it just like burns apart. Is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, it talks about it. I again don't remember if I wrote this into the script later on, so maybe I'm just talking about it twice at this point. But it does mention how like a lot of Nicol's like study of sorcery, he is like looking into what happened to Ugin. And I mentioned it when it was kind of telling the story from his point of view. He at this point basically believes that Ugin was destroyed by the humans of the Dragon Killer clan. Like they had done this spell to him basically. So like he kind of reverse engineered this spell based on what he thought he saw happen to Ugin, even though that's not what happened to Ugin, which I think is just very telling of like his focus of sorcery. Is like, yeah, blow shit up.
Ugin became a planeswalker, right? And then he like actually just like ascended and went to a different universe.
On another plane. We will talk about him and where he is in a little bit.
Okay.
That is cool because I remember you mentioned at the beginning of this episode, I caught it where you were just like, Nicol Bolas was judging like, the human magic used against Ugin. I'm like, Planeswalker Spark's not human magic. He has no idea what the fuck he's talking about.
Yeah, no, he doesn't know what happened to him, and I'm pretty sure we'll definitely talk about what did happen to Ugin later, but he's basically like it's another betrayal, and we talked about like how frail his ego is, and you know how like his brother is they are absolutely like the yin and the yang, right? Like they're like perfect opposites to each other in pretty much every way. So like I think to have the balance, like Bolas needed Ugin there, and if that hadn't happened, then you know. If Ugin hadn't been a planeswalker, maybe Bolas wouldn't be the big bad of the Magic series. But as it is, he is.
The Spark whisked him away through the blind eternities, and now Bolas is constantly 6 feet from the edge, and he's thinking.
And he's thinking. He's thinking, I have a problem. 2 dragons left, but only one ballista left to shoot, basically. Yeah. Of course, facing problems head on.
He needs the math wizard now who can calculate like crazy triangles and like pool shots. It's like we need to bank the last arrow. You get your son from the Hobbit. We need to bank an arrow off his shoulder.
Somebody tell me what 1 - 2 is. Is it good? God, what are you gonna do?
I'm getting into
battlefield calculations.
Yeah. I went to 2 different pool bars this weekend. I've been getting into pool. I'm still horrible at it. I wish I was good enough to kill 2 dragons with 1 ballista.
Oh yeah, one 8-ball.
Yeah, yep. I'm mediocre at it, but I live next door, so I'm happy to go whenever. Basically,
the key to winning pool is to cover your the pool. The cue ball is probably the most important one, but you can cover them all in poison. And then when your opponent goes to when you inevitably scratch, he'll go to move the cue ball and he'll die. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
And I said he because I'm a feminist, so I don't want you to kill women. I'm brave. What can I say? Yeah, I know you guys aren't brave enough to say it. Women shouldn't be killed, but whatever.
I'm not taking a position on this one, Ethan. Not on air.
This is too hot politically for me to weigh in.
People don't need my take on this one.
Yeah, I was playing with a girl in one of those games. To be fair, but I didn't kill them. So yeah, still alive.
Prove it, coward. You won't. Jamie was killing women. Problem? So Bolas is not going to fight the 2 dragons left. So there's Lividus left and Vivictus left, right? He's not going to take them on head on. He probably wouldn't beat one of them in a 1-on-1 straight up, right? But he'd been working hard on mastering the minds of others, right? That's kind of been his specialty up to now. And as Lividus crept forward, he launched an attack, a magic sliver of doubt to wriggle in his cousin's mind. He convinced Lividus that all of this was Vivictus's fault and turned Lividus against the head of the Asmati clan. So he basically goes like, because Lividus is mad that his brother Ravis just died, got blown up and exploded into a bunch of stuff. And Bolas hits him with the, oh, I see Vivictus sent you first because he knew how dangerous it was and you're so expendable. And, you know, he talks about you behind your back and he says that you secretly don't like women behind your back and that you're cheating in pool. Also casting a spell that makes that work, I guess you would say, right?
Right. Yeah.
Lividus was as large as Vivictus. Vivictus is probably like the largest dragon on the plane, so he is a problem in that regard. And Vivictus had not been anticipating the betrayal, right? So the two great dragons tore at each other, even as the last surviving soldiers launched attacks into the fray. So the story continues. Revenge was sweet, but the winner would still be bigger than he was. The young king retreated. The blood-soaked rearguard, of course, had to all be killed lest they pass on the knowledge of how the blood of an elder dragon protected weak humanoid flesh. The sorcerers he allowed to live for long enough to create a smoky mist of concealment that would carry him some ways onto the plains, but he killed them after so that there would be no one to talk of how there were bigger, stronger dragons in the world whom his subjects might choose to worship instead of him. As he flew away in haste, he contemplated what he had learned. Greed and envy are goads that never cease clawing at even the dullest of hearts. Dragons will succumb as easily as others, if you can just find the kernel to ignite them. Vivictus would come after him, he was sure of it, so he had to find a way to keep his cousin busy. I think this is like, I mean, I don't know when the exact turning point for Nicol Bolas was. From the story, it seems like he was just always pretty evil. But like with Ugin gone, I think there's like a pretty dramatic turn. And you'll notice, or maybe you would have noticed when he was telling the story of like him being the ruler, he talked about how he was ruling the way that his brother would have wanted, right? And like, so they did have plenty of conversations when they were in Arcades' kingdom. We didn't necessarily go into all the details, but he had lots of conversations with Ugin about like humans' rights to live, you know, and just like to be people. And clearly he doesn't care for that. He believes that he is doing good and right by controlling everything. He believes that if he can just be in control of everything, then that's the best and safest way to be. Just like any good old fascist, right? Any autocrat.
Ugin probably believes in witnesses, where Nicol Bolas appears to be witness agnostic.
Exactly. Ugin believes that whistleblowers shouldn't be shot in the head, you know, but agree to disagree, buddy. Okay.
I guess so. Yeah. Two sides to every coin, Ethan. Two sides to every coin that you lay over your own eyes after shooting yourself in the back of the head.
Exactly. He knows that Vivictus wins the fight against Lividus. He knows that Vivictus is going to come after him and not be pretty happy. So he needs a way to distract Vivictus, right? And keep Vivictus from like challenging him head on. After the break, we'll take a wider look at what would come to be called the War of the Elder Dragons.
Ooh.
In the wake of surviving Vivictus's Mahdi, Nicol Bolas reflected on what had bought him the time that he needed. A smokescreen had let his army escape long enough for a final stand, and that was exactly what Bolas needed now. His magic spread dissent amongst the dragons, and dragon clans go to war. This is his big plan for a smokescreen is if Vivictus is too busy fighting other dragons, then he won't be fighting me, right?
Right.
Vivictus was at war with his own brother's children after killing Lividus, right? So Lividus's clan is like going after Vivictus because Bolas already turned them on each other.
Did he have to poison their minds also, or was it just poisoning Vivictus's cousin, who he then killed, and now his children are seeking his nibblings are now seeking revenge on him?
Yeah, exactly. And like it's impossible to tell with Bolas how much of it is his like direct intervention versus not. Like we talked about it last episode a little bit, and it's not super important, but like he did first learn the art of like doing it manually, right? And then when he left Arcades' kingdom was when he kind of figured out how to do it magically, but he did spend a lot of time like learning the politicking to do it. Do it by hand. You know, get your hands dirty in the thoughts and brains of your cousin.
Is a magic psyop really getting your hands dirty?
Yeah, exactly. Dragon blood, you can't burn your hands anymore because they're covered in dragon blood.
I got the instruction.
Macbeth when she's trying to wash her hands and the sink keeps trying to burn her, and she's like, dragon blood.
Fire shooting out of the sink.
But she says, dragon blood, but in iambic pentameter, whatever that is.
Right, yeah, of course. Like a Tool song.
The bloodthirsty Palladium Moors was obviously pretty easy to goad into shedding the blood of other dragons as well. So he's kind of like getting a hand at tipping everyone into this war. The story tells us about Palladium Moors specifically. She remembered Bolas with a dismissive clout to his head, but she listened avidly to his tale of how vulnerable Vivictus now was. Dragons from one clan raided the mountain fastnesses of a cousin clan. Amid the snow-capped peaks, the dragons fought in thunderous battles, claw to claw, fire to fire. Charred flesh rained down from the heavens, bones shattered at the base of cliffs. Those whose hunger could never be sated tore their way through the dying, feasting upon the bloody flesh of their own kind. Greed and envy grow the more they are fed. Maws open to swallow larger portions, and claws reach for yet more distant prey. This would be such a crazy time to live through as like a barely medieval peasant, right? Like it was never a good time to be a medieval peasant, as far as I understand it. But like when dragons are just like tearing each other apart above, you're never sure when like a dragon stake is just going to land and crush your house. Basically, you're crash right through your thatched roof and light it on fire.
All your food for the winter is stored in like one of those like a rock cairn, basically, like they leave to each other in the Northwest Passage, and all it is just like grains and salted fish, and it's just like completely devastated. You've got 8 kids with your sister wife, and they're just gonna starve during the winter.
Even the level-headed Arcades Sabbath is convinced to join the fray as poisoned whispers in his mind tell him, the others will not respect your autonomy or your wisdom. They will come for you if you do not go after them first. So Arcadius was the silver dragon that had ruled over humans very peacefully, that Nicol studied how Arcadius administered the kingdom, basically, like learned how to do the basic level of administration needed. And he was known for being like, he protected them from Vivictus. He wanted to uplift the humans. Like Ugin really, really agreed with a lot of the things Arcadius was doing. And even he is like manipulated by the whispers from Bolas, like straight up magic in his mind, being like paranoia. You're gonna kill yourself in prison if you don't do something now. You know what I mean? Officially, big
exactly. Yeah. They're gonna take away all your bed sheets in prison and turn the cameras off. Like no.
Throughout the war, Nicol Bolas was often preoccupied with thoughts of his brother Ugin, of course.
Brother, can you hear me?
Here's a quote. At odd moments, when he visited the Birth Mountain or when he was flying above water, he thought of Ugin. In his hearts, he felt obliged to believe an invisible wind roused by sorcery had ripped Ugin away, because if it hadn't been sorcery, then Ugin was nothing more than a coward who had abandoned his brother just when Nicol needed him most. He could not bear to believe Ugin was so weak and dishonorable. So this was actually like from quite a bit earlier in the story, but I think it again kind of reinforces that idea of like there is this like he's all ego and doubt, like he's just a guy who doubts himself too much. He's Napoleon complex, right? Is essentially it. He was born a little dragon. He's having a really hard time coping with that, and his brother, who's like his twin brother, who he knew his whole life, like from birth, disappears, and he has this like niggling doubt in the back of his mind that like his brother abandoned him, that his brother saw what was going on and said like, oh, I don't want a part of this. You're going to deal with this on your own, basically.
Yeah.
And that story will continue to twist throughout like the generations on generations on generations that this war is going on. As he tells himself like, oh, eventually he tells himself like, oh, Ugin must have been destroyed by sorcery because he never would have like even dared to have left me. You know what I mean? Like it just like he keeps like changing that memory for himself into what it never is, whatever he thinks it is. But
yeah, well, he doesn't know what a Planeswalker Spark is yet, and as far as we know, there's no Planeswalkers on Dominaria at this time to just like explain it to him, right?
As far as we know, Ugin is the first Planeswalker.
Oh fuck, okay.
As far as we know, like it's not confirmed that in all Magic canon he is, but there's never been another Planeswalker who's been put at a time earlier than Ugin Planeswalking here, basically.
Is this before the Brothers' War?
Way before. Well, the Brothers' War was on Dominaria between humans when all the other dragons were gone, basically. And the world right now has a dragon problem, okay? At the end of this war, I think there's like hundreds of dragons, maybe thousands of elder dragons at this point. At the end of the war, there's 5 that we know of, I think, still alive, right?
And destroy each other, basically.
Yeah, exactly. They're gonna tear each other apart, pretty much. So from Bolas's perspective, Ugin had simply vanished, right? The magic of planeswalking was not something he understood. It was like unlike anything he'd ever seen. He'd trained sorcerers to disintegrate dragons, but the power which whisked away Ugin was unattainable to him still. So like I said earlier, he is like pursuing this. He does want to find out what happened to Ugin. He does want to figure out where he went. He wants to know where he is. But since he can't find him anywhere, and like hundreds of years, thousands of years, who knows? But like he has a lot of time to look. You know what I mean? It's hard to hide a dragon.
I'm gonna fucking keep disintegrating my cousins until I figure out what happened to my brother. I don't care.
Yeah. Are you my brother? No. Are you my brother? No. That's a disintegration, right? That sound.
Okay.
So I don't know for sure the motivation behind Bolas's ego inflating at a dangerous rate, but Ugin's abandonment of his brother, or perceived abandonment of his brother, certainly played a role, in my opinion. The source material for this story, a series called the Chronicles of Bolas, is set in modern day on the plane of Tarkir, like I mentioned earlier, with a character receiving these visions of the past, told alternately from Ugin's and Nicol Bolas's point of view. We see Bolas's story twist and change throughout as he tells the story himself. He would never admit that he was trapped while Moravia Sal was killed, which we talked about in the last episode. When they first landed, he was pinned under a tree while his sister was killed, but that he just hadn't arrived in time. He tells that she was already dying, and that the humans just claimed the kill because humans could never kill a dragon, basically, even though he's literally in charge of the Dragon Killer Kingdom these days. But like when he tells the story, he never tells it that way, you know?
Like he taught them about venom opposed to the fact they already had venom, and he just like took it from them, basically.
I'm sure it's that. I'm sure that's what he's told the humans now. So at least when the humans pass down the story, that's what it is, right? Like the benevolent Dragon King, gave them the power to kill other dragons and protect themselves from the mean dragons out there, right?
Right.
Yeah. I mean, if ants like knew they could kill me, that would be a bad thing. I would want them not to think that they could kill me. I could kind of see where he's coming from there.
Can ants kill us? Is this a serious threat?
I don't know.
Fire ants probably could. Right? I've heard they suck.
How many
fire ant bites to kill a man?
I went to Florida with my dad when I was really young. Like I was probably like 8 or 9 years old. And I remember it was like a cold day in Destin, Florida. And a bunch of fire ants crawled up my dad's shorts and were like stinging him all up and down. And he jumped into a freezing cold pool just to get rid of them.
I mean, yeah, you do what you can in that situation. Holy moly.
Yeah.
What's your better, dad? Ants in your pants? Shut up!
Pretty accurate.
So fire ants can kill you if you're allergic. It's kind of like it's not that bad.
Okay, so if you're weak enough to deserve
shit stung on me
then yeah,
by
sure,
ants
whatever.
once as well. I stepped on an anthill in PEI, and they're fast. They're real stand your ground bugs. They'll move in real quick and start stinging the fuck out of you.
Yeah. For the old heads in the Discord, I was looking through my photos on my phone today, and the oldest
pizza tub
photo. The oldest photo I have on this Google account is a bunch of ants went into my pizza, and I threw it in a tub and just soaked it, and I shared it on a Discord gaming night.
Was that also your folded in half pizza? Was it the same pizza?
No, different pizza. I've had a lot of beef issues. Yeah.
The folded pizza, I remember laughing till my stomach hurt when you told me that story.
I ordered DoorDash pizza, and this was like the beginning of the pandemic when they didn't quite figure out the logistics yet. And someone's bag.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, early 2020 during COVID when they hadn't figured out how to deliver fucking pizza.
It's too complicated.
The supply chains from China were all fucked up, so I got a folded pizza.
Well, getting strangers to deliver from multiple restaurants, I guess, was the issue because the guy had a bag that you could put like a McDonald's bag in, but he couldn't put the width of a pizza in. So he folded my whole pizza to fit into his heating bag. And yeah, I have like a completely mangled pizza that arrived. Yeah. For those who are there, yeah.
I love just I would kill to be Nicol Bolas in that situation, to read that guy's mind when he is folding your pizza and just being like, yeah, it's time to deliver it.
Yeah, he's like hot and fresh. It's gonna be nice and warm when it gets there. Perfect. Holding it and putting it in the heat bag, like yeah.
That to me has just gotta be
stupid.
It's crazy. To me, it's just gotta be like that. To me, is like mental overload. You know what I mean? Like that guy got overwhelmed and his brain stopped processing at a functional level, right? And he was just on instinct. And I was like, gotta get it in bag, and go.
Well, his birth into instead of like being birthed from the sky and getting trapped under a tree, he started as a delivery driver and he lost his tips for not putting the thing in the heating bag the first time, you know? And he's like, oh man, I always got to put it in the heating bag. And even though that's completely wrong and evil, he folded my pizza in half. Yeah.
True. Yeah.
And now he is, for thousands of years, he's been disseminating amongst the pizza folding tribes that actually this is how they're supposed to look.
This is actually the better way to do it. And then anytime that somebody, that's just a calzone, right? Like I guess the calzone kingdom.
Yeah, I mean you need to get the uncrustable staple gun and like put the ridges around the edge for a proper calzone, I think. But
yeah,
if they sold an uncrustable staple gun, I would get that for you to match your chicken shears that I got you, Pete.
I use those a lot, actually. Those are fucking fantastic. You guys need poultry shears.
the uncrustable hole punch. I mean, I feel like that's also pretty. You know, if you could do that at home, cut out the middleman. Smuckers, get out of here. I don't need you.
Loreboys, we went to the farm together, and me and Pete were sleeping on like couches next to each other and watching infomercials, falling asleep. Pete was completely passed out, but when a lady came on to show chicken shears, Pete like inexplicably woke up and went ooh because he was excited about the idea of cutting the chicken.
And then Ethan got me poultry shears for Christmas a couple months later.
I got them for you for Christmas and ended up giving them to you for your birthday, pretty much exactly a half year later.
Is that how? Okay, that's how that worked out. Yeah.
Maybe that way or the other way, but I know it took forever to get them to you.
They're excellent.
We see each other twice a year, the three of us. So.
Yeah.
So speaking of stories twisting and changing, just like this one is, Ugin, if you ask Bolas, was always in Nicol's shadow. He was a stammering, nervous, indecisive mirror to Bolas's own proud soul. So the way that he kind of talks about his brother as well, very disparaging and talking about like Ugin never had the je ne sais quoi to get done what needed to be done for Dominaria, right? As Nicol tells it, Ugin was destroyed by powerful sorcery, annihilated utterly in front of Bolas's eyes. Ugin's death to Bolas is just another event in his own story, right? Like it's not about his brother dying. It's about like, oh, well, that was really hard on me when he got turned to light in front of me, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
But Ugin didn't die, as we know and as we've kind of discussed. He had planeswalked and traveled to a distant, unreachable land for Bolas. Ugin awoke on the half-formed plane of Tarkir. So Tarkir is relevant right now because of a current set called Dragonstorm, which takes place on Tarkir. Maybe we'll get there eventually, but
we're Aether Storm or something. I thought I bought a pack and it said Aether Storm, but maybe it was Dragonstorm. Yeah,
I couldn't tell you if there's an Aether Storm as well. The Dragonstorm is the one that I was talking about, though, Jamie. Go ahead.
Okay.
Aether Storm. Who's in that one?
Well, just because you said it was like a current going on, I thought you were talking about the most recent pack.
Did you buy a Magic recently, Jamie?
Yeah, I went to a store and I was like, "What's the most recent pack? I'll buy it." And it was Aether Storm.
I've been meaning to go to that new nerd store near us. Actually, I still haven't gone.
It's cool, yeah. There's one on DeCarry too that I don't know if you go to, but it has a bunch of Transformers.
So the most recent set is Tarkir Dragonstorm, like I said. And the last quarter's one was Aether Drift. So go off, King.
Oh, I missed that one. Okay.
Oh, it was close. Yeah. Is it Toy Boulevard you're talking about?
No,
yeah,
it's not.
Probably. Sure.
All right. Dang.
I don't know.
So Ugin awakes on the half-formed plane of Tarkir, right? On Tarkir, the young spirit dragon is faced with a desperate isolation. He spends years, decades maybe, on a plane which is faced with violent storms, great earthquakes, and lava-spewing volcanic eruptions. Through it all, he finds some peace. So, I mean, it goes on talking about how, like, so Ugin's known as the spirit dragon, and obviously he's a pretty good guy. You guys will remember he, like, studied with, like, a wise woman to, like, learn the secrets of meditation and everything, and he's big into taking melatonin and all this other cool stuff.
Period cramps. He's 6'1", by the way.
Yeah. And he goes to Tarkir where there's no other living creatures. It's like it is a primal unformed plane. Life has not evolved here yet, basically. So he is like completely alone, just with the elements. And the elements are magic in Magic the Gathering, right? Like the 5 colors, blue is associated with water, red is associated with fire, white is associated with light. Like all these things are
green is some fourth thing we haven't discovered yet.
Yeah, unfathomable, honestly.
I mean, if it's in like a primordial realm now, like early plants are like big fungus, which is like kind of like khaki green, not like the verdant green that we're used to, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, this is like a great place to study magic, right? Like all he has to do is meditate and like fuck around with magic spells, basically. Because while he planeswalk here, he doesn't immediately know how to planeswalk, though he will learn how to planeswalk here. And like I said before, he is, as far as we know, the first planeswalker. So he's like, even if he went to a place with a lot of people, it's not like anybody there probably could have told him how to do it again,
Yeah.
He does have to figure it out for himself. He's faced with a desperate isolation, like I said. He reflects on the magic he learned from his human mentor in Arcadie's human settlement and the story she told him of the multiverse and the many planes. So she seemed to know of the existence of other planes, even if she wasn't a planeswalker and couldn't planeswalk. She at least told him about them. Eventually, he is able to harness his planeswalker spark, and he sends himself back to Dominaria. Uncertain time later, right?
Okay.
Ugin returns to Dominaria at the Birth Mountain. So this is like the place where him and Nicol were born, and presumably Merivius out. Like I said, I think it's location based. So I think like all his siblings were born at like this Birth Mountain, as he calls it.
Okay. Yeah. You had mentioned it earlier in the show, and I didn't ask, but I was like, I don't remember them crashing into a mountain. I remember them crashing into the woods, but I guess you can grow trees on the side of a mountain, so
it's true. You can.
Fine.
Big Pharma doesn't want you to know, but you can grow trees anywhere. It's where they first landed, where they saw Marivia Sal killed by hunters. The first thing Ugin notices is the temple that someone has built atop it. Robed priests come running, some ringing bells, while some throw themselves prostrate in worship of Ugin. The most notable feature of the temple is the two huge curved horns topping it, right? Ugin, intimately familiar with his brother, knows the way it curves. You know what I mean? So he sees that and he's like, oh, this is definitely Bolas is doing, because those are Bolas's horns that they put on top of their temple, basically.
Right. Okay. He Mount Rushmore'd it. He put himself on the mountain, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Ugin flies down to the old city of the Dragon Killers, now Bolas's kingdom, and surveys the land. The quote continues. So many humanoids tread the city streets that he cannot count them. Their voices rush like the chatter of boundless rivers, but beneath the bustle and liveliness dwells a tainted stillness. A festering darkness paves the alleyways and tenements and insinuates itself into every transaction. Beneath the prosperity of those who wear a badge sewn with curved horns, of those who feast at grand tables and serve in opulent temples, of those who carry iron swords and spears as they swagger about their business, creep the shackled and the starving, the slave and the shunned. This place looks little different at root than the old blood-soaked settlement of the dragon-killing chief, just grown and metastasized. So, like, Ugin shows up, he sees the temple with like the horns, he sees like cops with like horn badges, essentially, like showing their station. So like very fascist, right? It's the Nazis patrolling the street, just instead of a swastika, it's like the two curved horns. It's basically that.
Yeah. Nicol Bolas has invented the upper and lower class, basically. And then he's just like, I'm going to bring the middle class back at some point. Don't worry about it. I promise.
Yeah. Make Dominaria middle class again.
Yeah, via mind control and propaganda. The middle class is back. Don't worry.
Yeah, don't worry. Yeah, just keep going the way things are. We know that we saw it like gradually eroded over 50 years or so. But if we just keep going the way that things are going, we're sure it's going to be back.
Snap back.
Based on absolutely nothing, we're pretty sure it's going to go back to the way that it was and not keep going the way that it's been going for the last 50 years. Okay, everyone, chill. All right, just chill. God, take a break. Why are you people always like making such a fuss, getting sick and eating mud? Just like be rich and have parties like us. What the fuck? It's really fucked up of you.
Meet your wife on a plane under suspicious circumstances, dude. Just do it.
Ugin realizes that
mud getting sick is such a great criticism of poor people. It's that like a rich guy would have. So, why do you guys fucking do that? It's such a good like. How much could a banana cost, Michael? Right?
Yeah. So Ugin realizes that his brother might just be a lost cause at this point. he doesn't see this being very different than it was like when the humans, like the vicious humans of the Dragon Killer Kingdom, were running it. Because he had his own criticisms of that. We didn't touch on it too much, but he didn't think that they were doing a great job in the.
I don't think the Venom's good for me. I'm against it. But
Yeah.
you invented cops, dude. What the fuck?
Yeah, exactly. It's much worse. Come on. Nicol's treatment of humans is a betrayal to him, but he also realized that he doesn't need to stay here to fix it, right? So Ugin shows up and planeswalks away, this time deliberately to explore the multiverse. So
He doesn't say hi to Nicol Bolas at all. He doesn't like check it out.
Bolas,
he just the city and
Bolas, Bolas does not see him here. They don't talk to each other, which I do think is like Ugin is also flawed in this story in his own ways. And like, hey, it's not your responsibility to like you have a like sociopath for a brother. It's not your responsibility to fix them or whatever. Yeah. But you know, like this is like the perceived betrayal that Bolas was worried about. He doesn't see this one, but this is actually it, right? His brother just being like, no, this is fucked up, man. I'm gonna go. Yeah. I'm going to France for a bit. So during this time, Ugin travels far and wide. He sees Zendikar, Innistrad, Alara, and so many others. We don't know how many planes he visits during this time, but probably
he sees all the sets before they come out.
Exactly, yeah.
The next one's going to be so cool, guys. It's going to be Ether Storm, just like Jamie said. It's going to be so cool.
He sees them all before they come out. After they come out, I still can't even see them somehow.
Yeah. Ether Storm, then it's going to be Dragon Drift, dude. I'm excited for that. Just fucking dragons and fucking drift cars whipping those bad boys around. Hell yeah. No, the next set is Final Fantasy. Is the Commander set coming out, and I'm super excited for. I think I'm going to get finally cracking at the Commander decks. But.
Yeah, as playing Expedition 33, I want to go back to Final Fantasy now because I played like a few Final Fantasies I never finished, and just that turn-based, like having a great time, man. Such a good game.
Hell yeah. I'm excited for in 7 years whenever I play Claire Obscure Expedition 33. I'm looking forward to it.
It's still going to be fantastic in 7 years. Yeah. Don't worry about it.
I'm not worried about it. I got lots of Pokemon Showdown to play right now, okay? So don't worry about it. So he continues to roam, but his thoughts return again and again to Dominaria, the plane of his birth, and the home of his twin brother. He thinks that maybe he misread Nicol, that perhaps his brother was just young. Ugin is self-aware enough to know that he is not always perfect, so why should he expect more from his twin? So he's clearly like traveling, doing his gap year and like growing as a person, while his brother's like staying in their hometown, dealing with the same like petty squabbles and like not growing as a person. Right. And so he's like, oh, maybe I was wrong. Maybe I should have been like kinder. Maybe I could have done more. Maybe I should go back and help it. Right.
I really learned a lot in the centuries I spent in that Primordial Hostel in.
Ugin decides to return to Dominaria. When he first returned from Tarkir, Ugin had visited his brother's domains before the attacks of Vivictus, right? So like when he visited the city, it was like before the War of the Elder Dragons. The second time, he arrives at the end of the War of the Elder Dragons.
Okay.
Here's a quote from the story Familiar Stranger. Banners rippling in the wind. Armies march across the plains of Jumara. In their wake spreads the wreckage of a great war. Broken bodies, ruined cities, and lands poisoned by battles waged through merciless sorcery and the shattering might of dragons. Here and there, flags marked with the crown of Arcades' Sabbath lie crushed in the dirt and mud where cohorts have fallen to a pursuing army. Standards bearing the curved horns advance until the proud survivors of the fleeing army gather and brace for one final engagement. The last great clash opens with the howls of soldiers driven to madness by generations of war. Claps of sorcerer's thunder burst the hearts of the enemy. Ugin stares in horror as lesser dragons, unknown to him, fight and fall in the first charge. Arcades' Sabbath commands with brilliance, flying this way and that to fend off a flanking maneuver here and an assault of sorcery there. But always Nicol is there to counter him, ceaselessly patrolling the lines of battle as companies of soldiers and sorcerers vie for the honor of fighting in the front line where he can see them. Both are so intent on the battle that they don't notice Ugin high above them in the sky. So he arrives like at the Arcades' Sabbath is essentially like the last. I did mention I think there's like 5 dragons that we know about. I think Vivictus' body is still alive. I know Palladium Moors is still alive. Chromium Ruel, I believe, is still alive. So like a lot of Nicol's direct brothers and sisters. But Arcades, his direct brother, is like the last main faction fighting against Nicol. So there's other dragons that are alive, but they've kind of said like, yep, Nicol, you win. Like you're the king or whatever, They've acceded to him. Arcades is still fighting the good fight. And Ugin arrives at their battle, essentially, just in the nick of time, just in the nickel of time, as they would say, right? Ugin intervenes, trying to stop the fighting, and it buys Arcades enough time to retreat with his forces. So Ugin showing up when he did is probably the only reason Arcades does survive the Elder Dragon War at this point. Is because Arcades managed, Ugin distracts Nicol enough. Long enough for Arcades to escape, because Nicol's seen a ghost at this point, right?
Right, yeah.
Nicol does not believe his eyes when he sees the twin brother he believed killed appear before him, thinking it a trick conjured by Arcades to distract him. He attacks Ugin, launching waves of rage towards him, hoping to destroy the illusion, but Ugin is strong now, having studied magic across the plains, and wards himself easily. This is another little, just stacking the ego-piercing needles on the camel's back of his brother comes back from his sojourn in France and is way hotter and grew grew an extra 4 inches and is just way cooler in pretty much every way, and that Nicol with his little kingdoms is gonna start feeling pretty small pretty quickly.
With his small town kingdom that he's put together, which is the guys he went to high school with, basically.
Exactly, yeah. No, don't worry. You remember that bully Vivictus? Yeah, he doesn't come to the local watering hole anymore, okay? Yeah, he's not welcome there when we're there, let me tell you, okay?
He's killing women at pool tables in another bar now.
He runs the only taxi in town, so we sometimes call him whenever we need a ride home, but, otherwise, no talking to him, all right?
Last time I went to our local watering hole, I almost got beat up by Vivictus-style bullies. Whenever, and Ethan had to come pick me up. There was a guy who burned my shoes at prom, and my parents called his parents, made him pay me back, and then I saw him years later at the local watering hole, and he was like, "You made me pay for your shoes. Now I'm gonna make you pay," kind of thing. And him and his buddies were all around me, and Ethan came and rescued me in his car, so that was nice.
That's all the digs I am throwing at small town. We grew up in it. It's as shitty as I'm making it sound, I think. But get out there, travel, see the world. Nothing wrong with being rural, with being salt of the earth and all that stuff, but it's good to travel. It's good to broaden your horizons a little bit from time to time.
Absolutely.
So the quote continues, "You're dead. I saw you annihilated by a vile burst of human sorcery," cried Nicol. "It was the revenge for my victory, destroying what I love most. But I avenged you. I set out to make the world worthy of your vision of peace and harmony." "Is this what you call peace and harmony?" asked the spirit dragon. It will
peace
be.
Comes after thousands of years of war, idiot. That's how it works.
It's Sun Tzu. It's easy. Nicol says, "It will be. Come see what I've accomplished. Come, Ugin." Exactly what you say, Pete. He's this is what it takes to achieve peace, right? Again, just very fascist. This is just the fascist playbook 101 is we got to anything, order at all costs, right?
Peace, truth, strength, I think is the expression I've been hearing a lot recently in the year of our Lord 2025.
So Nicol leads Ugin across Dominaria, a beautiful plain, or once beautiful plain, now pocked with the scars of war, right? Nicol tells his twin that he has seen all of it, claiming to have set his claws down everywhere in the intervening years or centuries since Ugin was last with his brother. He basically says there's no place on Dominaria that I have not been.
Okay. You may have been traveling, brother, but I have had a brutal and bloody conflict. I've seen all of it. In every inch of Dominaria, dude.
Exactly, yeah.
There's craters everywhere.
I've seen all 25 square miles of our hometown, okay? I know it like the back of my hand. And sure, you learned a bit of French, but I keep using France as my go-to, and I say get out there and travel, and I did not have a good time in France, so go somewhere else. So go somewhere better than France, I guess. But
you go back for 1,000 years, and all you have to say to me, Ugin, is bonjour. What does that even fucking mean?
Talk some sense. What is this mind magic you're trying to throw at me, Ugin? You think you can best me in my own game? Je ne sais quoi? Fuck you.
Nicol.
Nicol, he claims that there's no place too great or too small for him to have touched. Then I that to me is just another ego brag. He's just yes, I've been everywhere. I don't believe that he has seen every square corner, but it does give some scale of time, clearly a long time for him to have explored even a significant portion of the world. Nicol claims he rules half of Dominaria. Don't know how true that was, because again, it's coming from Nicol's Nicol is saying it, and I wouldn't trust anything he says about, his own domain. But we do know that Arcades was the last Elder Dragon still offering significant resistance, like I said. It does not impress Ugin, however, who has seen the world and sees his brother, or seen many worlds and sees his brother puffing up his chest in the sandbox he rules. A final slight to Nicol, Ugin laughing at the size of his domain, right? Like he straight up laughs in Nicol's face when Nicol is like, yeah, hey, look, brother. Yeah, like, welcome back, man. Great to be back, dude. I set up my, here's my basement apartment in our parents' house. You see, I got the projector set up on this TV. This light switch actually turns on a black light for when we want to have a little bit of a party. You know what I mean? The bong's there, and that bucket's for old bong water because there's no sink down here because mom and dad won't pay to have one installed. But, so, mom and dad, the dragon.
Yeah.
Dragging all the time. We'll pay for a drain for my fucking bong water.
Yeah.
We can't watch a movie on the projector because the fan gets too hot and loud, but we can watch like a 22-minute TV show if you want. Then we're gonna turn it off for 45 minutes.
Yeah. And Ugin laughs at him, right? Ugin's like, this is like, what is this? Like, you're like, oh, this is not impressive to me, right? And obviously Bolas is like offended by that and kind of gets mad and says like, then show me how to planeswalk. Like, let's get out of here, right? Which a great moment of tension in the story where you're like, oh, because like obviously we know from being from the future that Nicol Bolas is going to learn how to planeswalk. He's a planeswalker. He's one of the most famous planeswalkers. So he's going to figure it out eventually. He does have a planeswalker spark. But Ugin realizes he doesn't know how. So there's this great moment of tension where you're like, oh shit, is this where Bolas is going to learn to planeswalk? But he doesn't yet because Ugin doesn't know how to teach him, basically. So I got one last quote to end us off on here. The lie is that you have all along believed you are better than me. You're the manipulator, Ugin, not me. I have only ever done what I needed to help us survive. I have only ever kept faith with you and with our murdered sister. What have you done except cravenly hide away, abandoning me? You only came crawling back when I had done all the hard work of making the world safe for us. You are right. I should never have come back. So be it. Enjoy your ascendancy over Dominaria. It's all you'll ever know, while untold worlds lie forever beyond your reach. Enraged, furious, heartbroken, Ugin vanishes in a ripple of invisible fire. And that's it. Obviously they're going to intersect every now and again, but probably never again as like brothers, right? Like this was the last ditch at repairing the relationship, mending the relationship, and it does not take. It's not a good reunion and not a good homecoming. And Ugin's like, have fun with your little sandbox, bro. I'm gonna go outside the sandbox where you can never go. Again, we know that Nicol Bolas is gonna figure it out. Okay.
It's like a Johnny and Ugin imprisoned Nicol Bolas at some point, like during Kamigawa or something, right? Like, which I'm assuming is thousands of years in the future at this point.
Yeah, I mean, Bolas is still a contemporary villain. Like
that I knew. He's got his. We discussed it, and he comes up in every episode, which is why people were requesting this for literal years. He gets
imprisoned on Ixalan, the vampire conquistador, with the dinosaurs plane.
Right.
Yes. It has I believe it's called the Immortal Sun, which is like an artifact where nobody can planeswalk off of the plane. So like Nicol Bolas gets trapped there, and then Jace Beleren actually ends up like releasing him because Jace Beleren wants to planeswalk off the plane as well. Doesn't want to live there with Nicol Bolas. So.
Right. Yeah. I mean, they'd be terrible roommates. You can't draw a big like chalk line across the entire fucking vampire island. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. And they're two like mind guys, right? They're both like, it's like no dig at people who like Death Note, but it'd be like watching Death Note to me, where it's just like, I actually thought 3 steps ahead of what you were going to do next. So I did this, and they would never actually like do anything to each other. They would just think about it and like throw insults at each other basically the whole time.
Is that what Death Note's about? I thought it was a book that kills people.
It's a book who kills people. It's a demon who lives in a book who kills people. I've watched, I think, the first 3 episodes maybe. So Anime fans, get mad, stay mad. It's because the way it is like a kid gets the book and he's like a super genius, but he's a serial killer at this point because he can just kill people. And then there's a super genius kid detective who's like hunting him. So it's like those are like the 2 main characters, and they go to like the same school and they're like hunting. It's very cat and mouse kind of thing. But it's very like
dad made up a anime based off what he knows about anime.
I've watched some anime I really like. I didn't enjoy Death Note. I thought it was bad. But anime fans, stay mad. What can I say? Knowing that's like half our fucking listener base too. But
Hey, look, we throw a couple of bones to the dogs every 6 months, and I'm just like, yeah, JoJo, whatever, fuck.
No art though. What a shame. I've been your host. Thanks for listening, everyone. Ethan Palmer. There will be more Bolas to come, probably. I don't know if I'll do it right away or if we'll take a break, step away from it. But if you want to hear more, consider joining the Discord and let us know, because I got a lot of requests for more Nicol Bolas already. So I'll probably do some. Okay, frick, guys. Go ahead and request Death Note, and I'll watch all of Death Note and do it for you. Maybe. No promises, but Jamie, you got anything you want to plug, buddy?
Tuesday, Thursday, 7 p.m. EST, Loreboy James on Twitch.
Peter?
At Loreboys Podcast on Instagram and patreon.com/theloreboys if you want to get a preview of the old comic arena.
Yeah, thanks so much for listening. If you want to support the show, consider leaving us a rating, review, or a comment on your podcast app of choice. It really does help us out. And if you want to support us financially, kick us a few dollars. You want to be part of the spoiled loser titles when I mess up how I enter it into the Patreon. Consider joining us at patreon.com/theloreboys. There's links in the description to all the stuff we just said. So read the description, you bozo, huh? Click a link once in your life. Live a little. If somebody messages you on Discord with my name and my profile picture and they say they got NFTs for you, click the link, buddy. You only live once. What's the problem? Huh? Put in your credit card info. There's no harm. Come on. What is credit anyway? It's not even real money. You can't hold it in your hands. So why worry? That's what I always say. And of course, if you don't trust the scammers on Discord and you instead want to sign up for Loreboy's Prime service, which we've always offered, you can just DM me your credit card info. Go ahead.
We're gonna set up a boys coin on pump.fun. Don't worry about it. We're doing it. It's like I don't own a rug, so can't pull it. Don't worry about it.
We're in our villain era now, okay? So we're the Joker, baby. Give us your money.
Yeah. Our brothers planes walked away and said that our apartments were small, and we're fucking pissed about it, dude.
Yeah. The fourth lore boy planes walked away and left us in a villain arc now. So what can you do? I'll say shout out Magnus for the lore of the fourth lore boy that he shared the other day. Great stuff. Thank you for that.
Right, yeah.
And I think that would constitute a lore boy.
Lore boys.
Out.